The reason that we are here is to talk about the legacy of the third game in the Super Smash Brothers franchise, Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Broadly speaking, I think it's a game that has a history that is controversial in terms of the legacy of the game. Maybe mixed reception, at least on the competitive side. I think on the casual end, it would probably almost unanimously be considered one of the better entries into the series. Definitely. Between Subspace Emissary and things like that. But despite the single player shenanigans going on, the competitive community at one point was live and thriving. And with all the new games coming out, unfortunately, all games have their life cycles. They come and they go. But even despite that coming and going, there's still quite a bit of really just pride, nostalgia, even an active online scene for the Brawl community. So we're going to be touching a little bit on all of that going on. I think we're joined by a few special guests to talk about different issues for the community, and I can go ahead and let's introduce them right now. Coming out of Georgia and the owner of the Brawl Highlights page, or Twitter page, is Player One, the original Barrels of Fun. How's it going, Player One?
Yo, what's up? It's going well. I got off work a couple hours ago, so I'm doing okay today.
Heck yeah. And then coming out of Florida, the original Sheik Zelda master himself, now known as Purple Guy, but formerly at one point in time, maybe currently still, I'm not sure exactly how that's breaking down, but we were joined by Ed.
What's up, everybody? Ed? Hey, just lounging over here. Interested to see how this is going to go. I'm going to have a good time.
And of course, we are also joined by 686M, the legend out of Washington, and actually current, I would say if there ever were a Wi-Fi warrior still currently going on in the game, 686M definitely fits the bill, and one of the still actually putting out content and live streaming the game. So we're glad to have him here. How's it going, 686M?
I would take that as a compliment. Wi-Fi warrior comment.
I mean, in the best sense, just because I think we're all Wi-Fi warriors right now with just the pandemic and everything. Yeah. But for sure. So yeah, I think, as I was mentioning in kind of the intro, that the legacy of the game has been something that we've been trying to grapple with. I think when I was originally trying to put together an episode on how to really talk about the Brawl community, I actually saw a tweet that came out from Player One. It was from his Brawl Highlights tweet. And this is kind of in relationship to some of the stuff that happened back in July in terms of the wave of misconduct allegations in the Smash community that we ended up seeing, and really outside of the tragedy of all these terrible things happening to the victims of the situation, but also really calling into question how we handle a lot of these issues as a community, just because so much of the history of the game is rooted in a lot of these players that a lot of them were maybe even our friends of ours, and they have the same background and the kind of the same shared Smash story, Smash legacy. So I kind of wanted to get maybe Players One's thoughts on it, and maybe talk about some of your feelings on having a Twitter channel that's based on kind of celebrating the past history of Brawl and what the game means to people, or what the game meant to people back then and even currently right now, and maybe how we can try to responsibly reconcile that against some of the players from the past that are kind of problematic to platform at this given time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to break down that question, I think, in a couple parts.
Right.
Originally I started the Brawl Highlights Twitter because I just thought like Brawl was a super sick game, and it had its like really, really awesome moments, and I just kind of wanted to show like all the people who didn't like grow up with that game, like what this game could be about. Because a lot of what people a lot of what the new people thought about Brawl was just like kind of like what I would say like slander from like other communities, or they like see just like or they might have been shared like stereotypical clips of Brawl, like where someone's getting timed out, which does happen a good amount, to be fair. But like it wasn't all about that. So that's why I originally started the Twitter.
Yeah, I think a lot of players were really exposed to. I think even thinking about how communities have come and gone. There was the Melee documentary, and how they portrayed Brawl in the Melee documentary was very less than favorable. I will put it that way.
I remember that Toon. It was a Toon Link versus a Zelda clip. Just sticks out to me. It's just so bad. Yeah,
it was awful.
Other examples of like good timeouts.
Yeah, there were some hype timeouts for sure. Like timeouts, timeouts kind of in their very nature can be pretty hype when it's a last hit scenario, like the famous ADHD versus, ADHD versus Zero clip. And there are hype timeouts in like other games too, like Melee, like Hungry Box versus Armada that lasts like the rest of the game. Not the most exciting, but like the last couple of seconds, like where you steal the % lead back at the last second. It breeds some pretty hype memories for sure. Timeouts are still usually pretty lame. I don't disagree with that.
Sure.
Anyway, back to the original question. So I kind of took a break on posting on Brawl highlights. I take breaks every now and then anyway. But after all the allegations and stuff came out, because there's a good amount of the top players that played Brawl that were part of that, and it was just kind of for me it's kind of like a bummer, I guess, to see I go on YouTube and I just look up random Brawl matches that stick out to me, and then sometimes I just go down the YouTube rabbit hole where it just recommends a video and I just click that and see what comes up. And I'll try to find some clips to post, but it was kind of like a bummer to watch some of these top players that after some of the stuff they did and also that they won't be around really anymore. It was just not a good mood, so I just took a break off of it for a while. But I started posting back up again last week, I think, and I got more coming. What's the rest did I answer your question fully? Was there more?
Do we think it's possible to disaggregate the brilliant play from these people in the past versus their current, I guess, personalities, or is it possible to distinguish between the player and the person on some level, do we think? And we can open this up to actually everybody on the panel, because this was definitely a community issue that I think this is not going to be Brawl a Brawl unique issue. I think this is something that the Melee community really has to grapple with, the Smash 4 community, even the Ultimate community now at this point. It's unfortunately one of the consequences of the shared legacy of a lot
Smash
of the
Bros.
the Smash Bros, the high profile players, that the huge wave of them just being connected to such a egregious behavior. Do we think it's possible to disaggregate that player versus the person, or is it something that we should try to stay away from?
Do you want to go first, Ed?
Sure. I want to I feel like it's almost like a double-edged sword. I would like to imagine that there has to be a way to at least just be able to look at the gameplay and simply look at what the player did in the matches in a vacuum. But at the same time, I feel like there's forever going to be a tarnish on that name. So it's you're going to have players that'll strictly be looking for things to do, how to improve, or nostalgia watching classic matches. And if you can get past the name and the diminished, I don't want to say diminished value, but the tarnished name, if you can get past that, you can still enjoy everything in a vacuum. However, there's absolutely going to be a very it's going to be difficult to get past that. People see that name now and be this is what they did, this is what they are now, and it's going to be really hard to get past that. So I feel like it's definitely twofold answer there.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a lose-lose. I have an interesting perspective, I guess, because I'm a video editor for a more a larger channel that I'm not going to specify the channel, but I do editing for another channel, and when we have videos of those kind of players, it's typically recommended that we edit out, like, you know, the player cams and the names and everything.
Yeah.
And understandably, but you think about like the reception to that from the viewers, and I feel like it's very split. I feel like when you edit them out, there's people like, oh, come on, they can't even, you know, put the player there. Like, we know what they did. Like, we know everything. You know, we're just trying to see the gameplay. Like, but then if you know, leave them there, you'll get the same kind of response from the opposite end. You'll get a lot of people saying, oh, you know, how dare they even show this person and their gameplay. So I don't really know if there is a solution to that. Maybe, you know, time could be a factor. I mean, it's not like things are ever going to go away that somebody did, but I feel like it is still different, at least from that viewer perception. A few
Absolutely.
months, years, you know, down the line to take a look at it, and you see a different perspective and stuff like that. That might make it a little bit like, okay, you know, whatever, this is that. I feel like there are examples in other pop culture and other sports, but I can't really think of any at the moment.
Gotcha. You know, 686M, I'm curious to see how, since you're definitely more involved with the, I would say the modern iteration of the Brawl community, what the morale is like, or what the attitude is like towards this kind of question, and like what you've seen from the I guess the current active iteration of the Brawl community, and trying to reconcile that past.
On the person, like, it really sucks that two specific players that are actually like two of the top, you know, 5-3 whatever, that are a part of that whole thing, that are just being like, it's pretty much without a doubt that they're going to be excluded from any further ranks, and, you know, they won't be going to tournaments. I don't know if I'd say that Brawl's history is like rooted in this, you know, negative aspect, or the things that have happened. While all of the things definitely happened, you know, there was stuff that happened during Brawl too. Given a lot of the more recent stuff, especially involving those specific players, is after Brawl. I think it doesn't directly affect like the metagame advancement and the impact that those players had on the game itself. And while, like, you know, the things that happen should be acknowledged, again, it's like, I think it really depends on the individual as to whether it's an issue for them or not, when, like, you know, seeing those people in the games or whatever. I think that as far as, like, you know, if you were to make a highlight reel or a combo video or something, I think that it'd be best to, maybe even in general, just like leave player cams out no matter who it is. Just leave it to the game itself. I think that a huge part of Smash in general, and like the community, is about like immersion and something that you can put yourself into outside of all these real life circumstances. So when it comes to the actual game itself, I do personally see it as separate. I know it's hard to do, especially for people who are more affected by the issues, but in like reality, what those players did, like, and in the game itself, I mean, it is separate.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I like to think about, and this might be a way that some of us can at least partition it in our mind, is that it kind of goes along with what you're saying, 686, about the maybe not the entire legacy of Brawl is rooted in this negativity, because there's so many just untold stories and good memories that are from the community that really made the building of the Brawl community in general worth it. I guess not to justify any of the misdeeds, but if we can find a way to disaggregate the negative aspects and kind of hold on to the positive aspects of it, some of the memories. If you ask me, what is the game worth? Is the game worth driving 14 hours to Houston, Texas from Kansas to go to a 120 person tournament, which is considered a large scale tournament at that point in time, to lose because I tripped in the middle of a chain grab kind of a situation? Yeah, it was worth that. But is the game worth anyone being harassed or anything like that? No, the game's not worth that. But so I guess one of the things that I try to do when thinking about these things is to hold on to the untold stories, the friendships and the community that I built that are the worth it part, while simultaneously working on advocacy to improve the parts that were negative or not worth it. And I think that's actually kind of a lot of the inspiration for not just this particular episode, but the entire show that Bam, Cosmos, and I have been really putting forward.